Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina, hosts of this show. Convenient office locations all over the place: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. Joining us from the Morehead City office remote is Cassandra Nicholas, attorney at Whitaker and Hamer, and also here in studio with Josh is Taylor Scruggs-Smith, and Joe Hamer is on assignment. Take it away, Josh.
Hopefully I don't lose my voice. I've been losing my voice every day for like 2 weeks, and I feel it going out on me.
At this rate, the chat bot could take over.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So we get a lot of questions from folks about where their matter, if it's something that needs to be litigated, where their matter is going to be filed, right? So in North Carolina, we have federal courts, right? We got federal courts for civil matters, and we got state courts for civil matters, and we end up in both of those. State court has a couple of levels, right? You got small claims, district court, and superior court. And so what I wanted to do, and we've talked a little bit about this on an earlier show, but like just kind of talk about some of the matters that go certain places. And so, Cassandra, tell me about small claims. So small claims only exist in state court, right? So Wake County court has a small claims division. And what usually goes there?
So typically matters that are up to 10,000 go to small claims, and that's actually county by county. I haven't encountered a county in North Carolina yet where it's not 10. But it's not necessarily 10. In Wake and the other counties we typically practice in, it's up to 10,000. And those are typically like disputes that most litigants handle on their own without attorneys. You're allowed to have an attorney there, but frequently it's just two individuals, and it's a little less formal than district and superior court.
Yeah, the evidentiary rules are relaxed, civil procedures relaxed. There's not a lot of pleadings, right? Whoever has the complaint will go, there's like a form complaint you can kind of fill out, and you file it, and everybody kind of gets their day in court. And the magistrate, usually it's not a judge, usually it's a magistrate, will hear your matter, hear everybody, let you present evidence within reason, and you get your day in court. And then, most counties, if you were to lose, you can appeal it to district court, which we'll talk about in a minute. So small claims is a good place for folks who especially don't want to incur legal fees, right? If you're suing someone for $2,000, you probably don't want to pay $500 to $1,000 for an attorney to represent you to try to recover $2,000 when it's something if you have the time, you could try to do on your own. Evictions, that's something that usually happens in small claims court. So if you're a landlord and you have to evict a tenant, or if you're a tenant facing eviction, that usually takes place in small claims. But small claims is a place. It's people's court, and that came up in the haiku our chatbot wrote for us here about small claims. Small claims, big impact. Justice served without delay. Court for the people. It's doing pretty good. But that's small claims, and we do get retained to go in and handle a small claims action, especially if it's on the larger side, or if we think it's going to end up going to district court, because that's the next step up. District court is, usually most counties like 20, 25 grand and below.
Also where family court cases live. So your family court is always going to be in district court.
Yeah. And district court's more formal than small claims by design. Usually attorneys are involved. You certainly don't have to have an attorney at any point in the process, but usually attorneys are going to come into play in district court because you have to, you either have to file a complaint or you have to answer a complaint, right? If you're a plaintiff's attorney, you're going to file a complaint. If you're a defendant's attorney, you're going to file an answer. There's going to be some discovery, interrogatories, and then eventually maybe a trial in front of a judge or a jury, right? So district court, it's where a lot of stuff lands. And like Taylor said, family court, things like that. And then, of course, you also have, right, superior court. So that's like the biggest court most counties have, right? Usually the amount in controversy needs to be 25 grand or greater. If you're suing someone over real property, that usually ends up by statute in superior court. And superior courts, pretty formal, right?
Extremely formal.
right? So Superior Court, I can't imagine being sued or suing someone in Superior Court and not being represented by an attorney. But they're going to follow the rules of evidence and civil procedure kind of, pretty strictly. And there's a lot of things that you have to do. And usually there's a good amount in controversy. So that's Superior Court, right? So the state level, district, superior, small claims. But you can also end up in federal court, right? So federal court is I always called it big boy court, right? You go to federal court, it's everything's very serious. We've had a lot of times like civil rights violations end up in federal civil court. Constitutional, violations. If you got a constitutional argument that ends up in federal civil court,
Specifically, U.S. Constitution.
U.S. Constitution.
State Constitution issues would still be on state courts.
Other things can end up there, though. I've had insurance disputes, insurance claims that we were litigating ended up in federal court because the parties lived in different states, right? And that's something that can trigger federal court. If someone's suing me and they're in New York and I'm in North Carolina, we can end up in federal court because they don't necessarily want to come down here to North Carolina State Court. We can end up in federal court if the parties are from different states. And so there's all kinds of reasons you can end up in federal court. That is a really quick, I know we're up against another break. That is a really quick outline of how the court system works.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Also joining us on the program today, attorneys at Whitaker and Hamer, Cassandra Nicholas from the Moorhead City office and Taylor Scruggs-Smith in studio. Joe Hamer is on assignment. When we come back, we'll preview what's coming up on future Outlaw Lawyers.